The new Corolla Cross. Fill it with friendship and family. The new Corolla Cross. Filled with life.
iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting, iDiskiTimes.co.za. It's Sunday namhlanje and i-1st kaFebruary elonyaka umchaka 2026. Singena kwenyanga yesibini kwinyanga ezi12. Besingathi wasizawufika kule nyanga. uJanuary was so long, but and now sekuFebruary. Bonakala ngathi uzawamfitshane, but into esetha ngayo namhlanje is Kaizer Chiefs, who just won their second game ye-CAF Confederations Cup. Now bana 7 points. Bezibetheleke iZesco. Ibonakala ngathi wonke umuntu kule group uyazithathela amanqaku apha kuyo. Ukhweleza ehlela kwiZesco. So Kaizer Chiefs made sure ukuthi lento yenziwa ngabanye nami ndizoyenza. But ke Kaizer Chiefs scored 1 goal, Mr. Nkewu. Into engathi yaconcern for ifans ukuthi hey, we are not scoring. But abazayithatha bayisekhaya leba despite not scoring many goals, we are winning. That's the most important thing. Ile bayenze namhlanje against iZesco. Mr. Nkewu mandikubulise kunjani?
Tashane manibulise nakubantu abasibukeleyo. Ngoyenye yemidlalo inzima uyichaza bakwenzeke ntoni. Ngaphandle kwalento yona bake sayiqhwabela iKaizer Chiefs bayifumene amanqaku. Congratulations to Kaizer Chiefs for winning the game. It's one of the most difficult games to describe. I was thinking about what am I going to say about this game. One thing that is consistent, Tashane, are the inconsistencies in performance. We kind of touched on it yesterday night about the Orlando Pirates, that they were good in the first half and then in the second half, they were poor, which speaks to inconsistency in performances. That what you want is a full 90-minute game where you are good throughout the game. There are logical fallacies in football where people put 1 + 1 and they come up with 11. There is this perception that when you play away, it doesn't matter how you play as long as you come back with the 3 points. That is a gospel in football. But what people miss is that when you play negatively, when you don't know how you created opportunities, when you don't know how, when you're not sharing the ball amongst each other, you get used to that. And there's something called grinding out results in football. You get used to that. Because if you look at Zesco last week, Chiefs against Zesco last week, Pulemodi scores in the second minute and then nothing else happens. And then, of course, you watch the game against Marumo Gallants. Nkululeko scores in the second half, and that's all she wrote. Nothing else happened in that game. And today was the same as well. So if there's anything that is consistent about Chiefs is that their performances throughout the 90 minutes are inconsistent. You will find they are playing in moments. They have a moment where a goal is created and is scored, and then nothing else happens. Perhaps another thing that's consistent, which is good, is that they're keeping clean sheets. But then if you look at the opponent, you can ask Marumo Gallants, how many times did Marumo Gallants take shots at Brendan Peterson? At Zesco in Zambia last week, how many times did Zesco take shots at Brendan Peterson? Today, there was a header. Brendan Peterson, brilliant save, well done to him. And I don't know if there was anything else. There was maybe another cross that is saved, and then there was nothing else. So it's good clean sheets that are being kept, but then the quality of opposition as well is not asking Chiefs enough questions, but that's not Kaizer Chiefs' problem. But I think my concern is that the match was unentertaining. Abantu baseThekwini, they come out, they love the team, of course, and they go and support the team. But sometimes the disappointment is that you're not entertained. We've gone to stadiums when we were in Cape Town, yourself for Pirates, myself supporting Kaizer Chiefs. Sometimes you don't care that your team did not perform well. Ufuna xa ugoduka endleleni eteksini ibe iwini the team. But then that thing only lasts for a few seconds. Because when a team is underperforming, it tends to be a trend, and then you will be shocked one day when you're not bringing up those performances. And then something that you mentioned as well is the number of goals that are scored. Now, you can only score goals if you're creating goal-scoring opportunities. And they aren't creating enough goal-scoring opportunities. Why? Maybe because the midfield is not that creative. Maybe because they're not willing to share the ball. Maybe because they rely too much on going wide to Pulemodi and wide to Glodelilepo. A Glodelilepo who wants to be a goal scorer even when he's wide, so he's not thinking about sharing that ball. He did have one cutback, which was very good for Silva, who he should have scored. But predominantly, when Glodelilepo has the ball, he wants to score it by himself. As Joe was saying, that naturally that looks like a striker. It was an unentertaining game, but well done to Kaizer Chiefs for the 3 points.
Mr. Nkewu, I want to ask you something. I don't want to say it's a controversial question, but let's say namhlanje ndinguDenny Jordan. I am giving you this 5-year contract with Hugo Bros. Kaizer Chiefs has been collecting points has been winning games in the last 5-6 matches. They're unbeaten in 9 games, in fact. Now, Siak World Cup in just 5 months' time. Ocho versus squad Kaizer Chiefs. Utata bani pa.
I think it's not a controversial question. It's a brilliant question, actually.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous question.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this, that at the African Cup of Nations, there was a complaint that there's no Kaizer Chiefs
There's no
players.
Kaizer Chiefs player, yes.
And I want people to understand that for the pressure that you bring to Bafana to give Kaizer Chiefs players a chance,
Yeah.
you must calibrate that, combine what you are thinking with what you've just seen. And what you saw at Marumo Gallants, what you saw at Zesco, and the previous matches against Golden Arrows,
Sure.
the lack of domination throughout the 90 minutes. For me, I was thinking, and I answered myself this question in the last 30 minutes before we spoke now, that perhaps the only one that could play, not as a starter, but as a number 3 with Ricardo Kos, is Brendan Peterson.
Yeah.
Because yes, he did have a fabulous save,
Yes.
and he's been collecting clean sheets. Although I always think that the way we see clean sheets is not childish per se, but it's uneducated, the way we see clean sheets. You have to watch the game in order to understand whether or not it's a clean sheet by the goalkeeper. For example, yesterday, Orlando Pirates, Usipo Chaino, there was no
a clean
shot.
sheet.
He kept
Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. He kept a clean sheet, but my guess, we're not doing anything, so you can keep clean sheets like that. I think, to answer your question, maybe him only to be the number 3 goalkeeper, maybe Sipo Chaina has now a better chance of fighting against Ronwen Williams, because Ronwen Williams is conceding goals and is not even playing for Sundowns. I don't know if he's injured, but what's correct or what is true is that he's not playing for Sundowns. Maybe there's an opportunity or a door opened for Usipo Chain because he's been number 2 for a very long time. Maybe Brendan Peterson could be number 3 for Bafana. Based on maybe you would pit him against Ricardo Kos and say, okay, maybe because of these performances this season. And what has worked for him as well is that, unlike last season, he's not sharing that position with Bruce Vuma.
Yeah.
There is a clear demarcation of roles now.
He is number
You are
one.
number 1,
Yeah.
and then the other one is number 2. And maybe that's what's helping him as well. But generally speaking, I don't think that there's any other player. And the reason why there's no other player who's clear who can walk into the Bafana team from Kaizer Chiefs is that they're not a team that's convincing at the moment. They're not playing, they're not playmaking, they're not creating a lot of opportunities. When the second half started, So and I were counting the clock. It was up to the 15th minute that a team went into the box.
Yeah.
For both Zesco. This is not just a criticism for Chiefs, but for both Zesco and Chiefs, we were counting until it was the 54th or 55th minute, around 15 minutes. 10 minutes had passed without one of those teams going into each other's boxes. We can't keep on blaming the pitch. The pitch was poor at Marumo Gallants. It was poor at Zesco, but that one was a fantastic pitch. It's a World Cup stadium. Now what are we going to blame? That it was too hot? Then what else are we going to blame? One thing that's clear is that it's poor performances. And for now, those players don't deserve to walk into Bafana. Maybe with the exception of the goalkeeper, that he could be a number 3. That means even he wouldn't start, because Ricardo Kos did not play at the African Cup of Nations because he's a number 3. So perhaps, to answer your question, there's only one player who could be at the squad of Bafana for now for Chiefs. And the only way to get those players to play for Bafana would be to fix the performances.
Now let's go back to Chiefs again, just before Sival. Kaizer Chiefs, we can't wait for the fact that Amakhosi, and the fact that Amakhosi, that has to be questioned. Why Amakhosi?
Yeah.
And you did touch on it. Maybe they are not creating enough, or they are not converting each chances. Because the last one, Mabu, Bete crossbar, Silva, there was a chance.
Now in 90 minutes, you're calculating maybe 2 or 3.
2 or 3 chances. Yeah, but when in your own view, I think
it's the style of play. Junior always talks about philosophy.
Yeah.
It's the style of play. The way you play will kind of tell us about how many opportunities are you going to create.
Yeah.
If you are a team that's not sharing the ball and dominating the opposition, and even look at the goal as well. Well done for the goal, but a defender makes a mistake, the ball breaks, and then Chiefs scores. If that's not scored, maybe that's 0-0. It's a wonder goal that against Marumo Gallants that Lilepo scores as well. You see, so if you look at it, how many times per game do they create opportunities? Then it kind of answers the question of goals not being scored. I'm concerned about the way that the team is playing. Now, of course, it's positive that they keep on grinding results. But it's not good enough. It's not good enough to just grind results. You have to dominate your opposition. Yes, and I keep on saying this as well, that I don't think Chiefs mind where they are. They don't mind to be number 2 in the Confederations Cup group. And then maybe making the top 8 Confederations Cup, which is the quarterfinal, and then being number 3 in the league or number 4. I think they just think that that's improvement from last season. But for the fans, and I suppose honest Kaizer Chiefs fans will know that this is not good enough in terms of how the team plays and how they're creating opportunities for now. And maybe also the fact that it's interim coaches that are there and you're not sure. So when they were making a substitution, a thought crossed my mind, and I'm like, so who exactly is making that substitution? Must change. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm being logical that who is the head there? Cedric Kaizer, Khalil Ben Youssef, and their goalkeeper coach as well. All of them are standing up at the same time. And who is to say that none of them are making those decisions? Maybe they're coming from upstairs. So maybe when we talk about dominating and style of play, part of the rot or part of the problem is that it is unclear who is the head amongst those coaches. And if it is those coaches, Khalil Ben Youssef is an Egyptian or a North African. So culturally speaking, they wouldn't see football the way we see it. They wouldn't see football as something to be shared on the ground, something to be dominated. Because North Africans and East African, Cedric Kaizer is from Tanzania, they don't see the football the way that we see it. And that's why when their teams are playing, they don't play normally the way that we play. But well done to Chiefs for the 3 points. I think that umpago to Kaizer Chiefs fans, that you have to be concerned about the team going forward in that, number 1, not scoring enough goals. Number 2, the performances are not good enough.
Mr. Nkewu, thank you so much for your analysis namhlanje. Besibukele umdlalo we-CAF Confederations Cup match day number 4 for both teams, Kaizer Chiefs ne-Zesco. Remember later on namhlanje ebusuku izawudlala ke Almazri. Ngabo ke abathopisha igroup bana 7 points ke bayawudlala ke pha because bana superior goal difference, or is it head to head mos?
Yes,
it's head to head.
So even if it's 7 points each, if the team beat you before, they become number 1. So as it stands, I think it's Zamalek who's number 1, or Al Masry?
No, Al Masry number 1 with 7 points.
Chiefs
with 7 points. Then Zamalek with 5 points. Then kubekho ke igubu eli likhaliswa ngumuntu ongakaqokeleli points Zesco. Namhlanje Moses Mabhida Stadium is Kaizer Chiefs 1, Zesco United 0. Thank you so much for watching iDiskiTV.
Hola bafethu, this is Junior Kanye. Please subscribe to iDiskiTV.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niyazi bafethu, Amakhosi for life, they are back in winning ways. Please, siyacela ukuthi subscribe iDiskiTV.